Welcome back, YouTube. This week, I'm going to be testing the waters on doing something just a little bit different. I'm going to review a video game. Double Dragon Gaiden, everyone. I don't know if you heard about this, but this is a blast from the past video game. A title that I grew up with as a kid, playing Double Dragon in the arcade and on my Nintendo, and it has been completely retooled and released for Steam. Following in the footsteps of TMNT Shredder's Revenge, which just came out this last year, this game takes an old property and revamps it into something new and fresh for not only the old fans of the property, but also new people who have maybe never heard of it or have heard of it, but have never been able to play the games. Now, honestly, this title and the people who worked on it knocked it out of the park. This game brings everything to the table. It has a robust story mode, multiple save slots. You can also delete runs if you so choose to. Now, the cool thing is if you decide to go ahead and delete the run that you were in the middle of and decided to walk away from, this game offers a meta progress system. Now, what's really cool about this meta progress system is that when you're going through the game normally, you will earn money, and with that money you can do multiple things, which we'll get to later. But when you delete a run, you can still basically reap the rewards of that money into converting it into meta currency called tokens. Now, the token system is pretty cool, and it's right on the intro screen. When you're into the game, you can unlock multiple things. You can unlock art, you can unlock music, you can unlock wallpapers, all kinds of fun things. But the coolest aspect of it is the fact that you can unlock other characters. The original heroes of the story, the Lee brothers, are in the game still, but they are also joined by Marion and her uncle Matten. Now, they are characters that were in the previous games, but they were never playable characters. As you make your way through the screen, you'll actually notice that you can also unlock other characters, which is really cool. The classic Abobo, which was a huge boss back in the day, and some of the other ones that you're going to be introduced to for the first time, up to and including all of the bosses of the 4 different areas we'll be looking at when we get into the actual gameplay. Now, what's really cool about this unlock system is that each one of these characters has their own skills. As you go through the game, every one of the characters has their own moveset on basic attacks, but they also have their own special moves, and every one of these characters has something different to offer, which I think is very, very neat, because a game like this, being able to go through it with multiple characters that have different styles of play, is always a really interesting experience in my estimation. Now, what's brilliant about this game is that they've actually introduced a modifier system that allows you to make it either easier or harder in different ways, and as you play with this system, you'll find that the money that you need to convert into these tokens will take more or less depending on how much more difficult, in the case of gaining more tokens for less, or you're going to gain less tokens for more money because you're making the game easier. Now, when you start the game, you're going to be introduced to a very melodramatic 80s story that you got to a lot of when you were playing these kind of games in the 80s, but after you're through that, it's off to the races. Now, there are 2 different modes of play in this game, either single player or multiplayer, but unfortunately at this point in time, multiplayer is only couch co-op, so you're going to see in this instance me doing a single player kind of playthrough. And it's pretty neat because you not only get to select one character, but you get to select a backup character as well. And these characters will be able to tag in back and forth, as you'll see in the gameplay, to help you with your experience and actually help you get through the game a little bit easier, as you know you're inevitably going to be taking some damage. What's super cool about this system is that you can pick 2 completely different characters that may have totally different movesets, but still end up complementing one another as you're making your way through the game. In this instance, I'm going to be taking Marion and one of the Lee brothers, and we're going to dive in, and we're going to see exactly how this is going to affect things as you're moving through the game. So after you've selected both of your characters, you're going to be greeted into a screen that's showing you the different areas of the game. Now, the really cool thing about this is that each one of these areas is ruled by their very own boss, and they have their own general feel, their own general environment, aesthetic, and some different characters that are pretty much the same, but as you progress through the game, you'll notice that they also get their own special enemies depending on what order you decide to tackle these areas. Now, as you're going through in the single player game, it's really cool. As you progress, you're fighting your way through, and if you find your character getting really low on life, you can always tag in the other character. As you continue to beat up the baddies, you can combo system them into oblivion, and as a result, if killing 3 or more of them, you can get food. Now, the great thing about this is that if you tag in a character, the character that you were using has a certain amount of health that they can actually regenerate. So while they're riding the pine, as it were, they're going to be regenerating some of their health while their compatriots out there beating the shit out of everybody. Now, what's really brilliant is if you do utilize the combo system to get some of this food on the ground, you can not only use the active character currently to pick it up and get their health back, or if the other person that you tagged out wasn't able to regenerate all their health, they can actually be tagged in, they can pick up the food, and they can get ready to fight another day. Another crucial and very cool aspect of this game is the breakable environment. Now, as you're going through and beating up all the people that you encounter, you can also knock around the boxes, you can knock around the vending machines, and inside of each one of those you can find the dollars that you'll be using to either get to the upgrades that we're going to get to here in a little bit, or save it for the meta currency on the tokens, or you can even find food. And as you're making your way through the game, sometimes you're definitely going to need some of that food. So making sure to get all of these taken care of as you're going through the game is certainly something you're going to want to be aware of. As you go through the game and you are defeating your enemies, make sure that you pick up as much of the money as possible. It will disappear on the ground, and you do not want that to happen because it is very important to collect every bit of it that you can. Now, as you get to the end of each mission, you will be greeted with the area boss, and you will be in for a fight. You're not only going to have to worry about him, but at a certain health threshold, they will be bringing out people to help attack you, so you're going to have to juggle back and forth between where you want to throw your aggression, unless of course you can get them all grouped up into one nice little package and use your specials to take them out. If you are able to kill the boss on any one of these missions, you're then greeted by a really cool screen that shows you all of the different stuff that you've earned during the run in terms of money and the reason you earned it. It could be from combos, it could be from knocking someone out in a special way, it could be from any number of things, and I really think that this is a neat little summary for the end of the runs, and it also leads into what is a very cool part of the game, which is the upgrade system. The neat thing about the upgrade system is that it gives the game an almost roguelike element, which I'm really excited about. As a huge roguelite fan, I love being able to go through runs of a game and kind of find new and different ways to approach it. With Double Dragon Gaiden, they've done this with all the characters, and at the end of, again, an area when you kill the boss, you're able to get 5 different selections to upgrade each one of your characters. It could be something as simple as upgrading their special regeneration. It could be that when the character's knocked out, their other guy comes in, everybody on the screen gets wiped out, so that person's coming into a fresh set of things. It could be armor when your special gauge is full. It could be any number of stuff. Or you could just take a big stack of money and run so that you can use that to either upgrade in the next area, buy a continue, or again, use it to earn some of those meta progress tokens. Another great aspect of this game is when you are done with the first area, everything starts to get harder. As you can see, as we're looking at behind us here, there's going to be a rundown of every one of the areas you haven't visited yet getting stronger. They're going to have more enemies to contend with. They're going to have more special enemies to contend with. In some cases, they're going to be a special mini boss that you're going to have to contend with. And I find that this is another really neat aspect of the game because, again, it gives you replayability. It gives you something to strive for, especially if you're messing around with the difficulty levels. If you're making it easier, it's going to give you something to strive for later. If you're making it really hard and you're not able to get through it, then you can just keep slamming your head against the wall. Now, this happens after every area is completed. So in the first area, we had to go through 2 areas to get to the area boss. If we were to go into the second area, that means we're going to have to get through 3 sections before we get to the boss, and so on. The bonus here is that when you go into the new areas, after they've increased in, difficulty as it were, you're going to be able to earn more money as well. The game is going to give you more goals to hit, whether it's another special KO on the mini boss or the boss, or a few other just mini objectives that you can actually achieve so that you can earn more money again, so you can continue to upgrade your characters, continue, or earn more of these meta tokens. As you get into these more difficult parts of the game, you're going to find yourself a little bit more up against the ropes, and you may find yourself getting one of your characters killed. Now, don't despair if you're playing this on single player. If one of your characters dies, the other character that you've decided to bring along for the ride immediately comes in and you can continue to fight to the end. Now, the bright side here is that if you do get through an entire area and you end up killing the boss with that one remaining character, you will get your tag partner back for the next section, but as it stands in the current area, you're screwed with only one. So as you get through these areas, and again, you might find yourself dying like I just did, you're going to be greeted with the continue screen. Now, you can do a few different things here. You can choose to continue by spending some money for a revive. You can let it actually go all the way down to 0, and then you're going to be getting the screen that says, hey, you can use some of your meta progress tokens to either continue, or you can cash out and just take that money and get more tokens so we can go back to the main screen and maybe do some more of the meta unlocks or some of the special unlocks, whether it's the characters or some of the art or the backgrounds of the music or whatever the hell it is you want to do. Now, to wrap this all up in summation, Double Dragon Gaiden is an absolutely amazing game, and I would recommend it to someone who really enjoys themselves a good beat 'em up. Once again, it's really cool to see a lot of these old properties being reinvigorated for a new generation of gamers, or to even, you know, play on the nostalgia of people who miss games like this. I personally found this game an incredibly good time, and I played it on a lark. I had no machinations on playing this and didn't even realize it was a thing until about 5 days before I heard about it and was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a shot because I've heard some pretty decent things about it. So again, if you are a really big fan of these old beat 'em up games like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Streets of Rage or Final Fight, all these other classics, but only a few of them have gotten, you know, the love that only a new kind of take on the game could bring it, such as TMNT. It's really cool to see that Double Dragon Gaiden has done a pretty neat thing with it. I even find this a little bit better than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which was very well received last year, because again, you can go through the game multiple times with different characters that have different moves, upgrade them different ways, and I have no doubt in my mind with enough time and effort, you could end up breaking the game pretty well. So if you're looking for an awesome trip down memory lane and a really cool beat 'em up that has some awesome new school mechanics blended in with a lot of the mindless fun that we knew of this genre from yesteryear, give this game a kick. I'm not getting paid for any of this. I don't have any skin in the game on it, but it was a genuinely good time, and it's something that I've actually played on my own time after I streamed it at one point. Get out there and give this one a go. They did an excellent job with it. I truly hope to see more of this kind of stuff as time moves on. And if any of you out there have played TMNT, Shredder's Revenge, or even this one, let me know in the comments and let me know how you felt about what these games brought to the table, because again, sometimes you just want to sit down for some mindless fun, enjoy yourself with a brainless game like this, but still have some, you know, options to make it a little bit more fun for you in different ways, like giving yourself more armor when your SP gauge is full and all that other fun stuff. At any rate, I had a great time with this one. Definitely give it a look-see. I will be back next week with probably some more gaming news, maybe another game review. Who the hell knows? I'm actually enjoying this whole thing a lot more now that I'm adding stuff like this into it too. So hope you guys are all enjoying your day. Have a good one, and we'll see you next time.